2, 1. All right. I'm excited once again. I have the one and only Charlie Alaimo on the show, and I want to catch up with him because I know he had a pretty busy week, and it seems like an ongoing theme because always the night before I record with him, he's up to something. And when I talked to him last night, I'm just admitting, dude sounded like he was taking a bong rip as soon as I called him. So what's up, Charlie? Am I right or am I wrong? Bong rip or no bong rip?
I don't have a bong right now, but yes, I was in the middle of smoking. That's correct. And drinking as well. I was doing both and talking to you. I don't know how I didn't choke.
Listen, I don't want you to think I'm judging because even though I don't drink right now, I miss it. I had a lot of fun drinking. Now, do you go, you're drinking the Miller Lite. You're staying true to the Bubba Army. Now, I was such a hardcore alcoholic at one point that I did not even bother with beer anymore. I just went straight to the liquor.
I've done that as well.
I mean, are you to that point right now, or you'll just have a couple of drinks every once in a while?
I'll just have a couple of drinks. I was to that point of, I would say, at the tail end of last year, and then I kind of curbed my drinking back some. So now I feel comfortable just having a few beers or a few cocktails.
Yeah, it can definitely get out of hand real quick, and this is how a drinker's mind works. Because the way I looked at it, a lot of beer puts weight on you. And you're still, about 10 years younger than I am, but that shit's gonna catch up to you eventually.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you seem like you always have a high metabolism.
Yeah, I do have a skeleton body.
Yeah. I mean, what are you weighing in? What's your measurements? If you were going into a prize fight, what would be the tape measurements on you?
Well, luckily I went to the doctor not too long ago, and it was 5'11", 145.
I thought you were taller than 5'11". I keep saying, well, listen, I've gone, and I've always been 6 foot tall, but, I hear you start shrinking around 40, so I might be 5'11" right now, because I've always gone with 6 foot tall.
Okay, it's 6 foot tall sounds a lot better.
Yeah, 5'11" just seems like, hey, I don't want to seem like I'm trying to get an inch, so I'm going to go with 5'11".
Yeah, I always lie and tell people I'm 5'10". Why not go an inch under?
So what has been your week? What has your week been like up in Montana this week? Anything interesting?
Yeah, the whole COVID thing got ramped up here, and then the governor declared masks in public, so everybody's got to wear those now.
I have no problem with that.
I don't either, really.
I mean, are you having to wear them when you're slinging the legal marijuana and stuff?
Yes, I am.
All the time? The whole time you're there?
When in the morning, I don't wear it until we open, and then when we close for that last 30 minutes, I don't wear it when it's just the employees in there, because we are social distance anyway, and there's not very many people in there.
Let me ask you, so a lot of these, I know you don't like getting political, but why do you think mask became a political statement? Is it because of Trump, you think?
Well, I don't really know. Maybe because a lot of people that were supporting Trump were wearing masks and shit to begin with. So I don't know when that started becoming political. I know that it got to a point where people were either totally for it or totally against it. There was no in between. People would hound you if you didn't have one, or people would hound you that you had it, that you were wearing one.
See, everybody says America is falling off. We're no longer the superpower we used to be. And I think our biggest problem in our country is that Americans have become too selfish. And I'm a big history buff. I'll take you back to World War II. Everybody sacrificed. Everybody did their part for the war effort. Back in the day, they sacrificed. Do you really think Americans nowadays would be willing to sacrifice for the betterment of the country? Because I don't think they are.
No, I don't think so either. Everybody wants their check and their momentary right now. They don't. That's why we're kind of in the shape that we're in, because everybody wants the right now. They're not thinking about the future, really.
Yeah, everybody wants that right now. And there's so many examples I can give you of that. I also think that's why Americans, we're one of the most obese countries in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And it has a lot to do with the fast food restaurants we have here, but it also has to do because what happens is Americans want it now. As soon as they start something, they want to see results. They want to see a payoff immediately, and that just doesn't happen. And I think a lot of Americans, this is one of the things, and I want to hear how you feel about it. I always look at New Year's resolutions as, fuck you, you're never going to do it because you have these big plans, and when the beginning of the new year comes, you do it for a little while, and you don't see immediate results, and people just say, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, and realistically, if there's something that you want to achieve, why would you wait to the new year? Why not start now?
You can do it anytime.
Yeah.
Sure. I've been talking to some of my friends. They look at plateaus. They take things in decades. Like, I've told people this. I had a harder time turning 30 than what I did the age of 40. Because 30, 20s, okay? You go through your teenage years, hey, I'm still young. When you get into your 20s, you're like, hey, I'm not old, but I know a little bit more. But then when you get to that 30, you're like, oh, fuck, I'm getting older. But 40 was not that bad for me because I looked at it as, hey, I'm not old, I'm not young, I'm kind of in a little bit of a limbo area, and it's time for me to make changes.
For sure. It's funny that you bring that up. I didn't have that problem when I turned 30. It was this last year when I turned 31, and I was like, what the fuck?
Why? Can I ask why?
I don't know. I don't know why it didn't happen. Well, I know why it didn't happen when I turned 30 because I drank 30 beers on my 30th birthday because nobody else would do that.
Tell me you filmed this.
No, I did not. It was one of those things where it was just kind of a bunch of friends around and somebody got me a 30 rack and I was like, well, shit, I just turned 30. I might as well drink all of them.
Yeah, hell yeah. So I sent you an audio clip I wanted you to listen to.
Yeah,
Vulture,
that was pretty cool stuff.
So
calling it the Bubba show.
Let me set it up, okay? So I was recording my show yesterday, and then Vulture, my producer, because I completely forgot about it. He's like, hey, Bubba's doing $199. You should call in. And I'm like, listen, I know Bubba. You've listened to Bubba a long time, right?
Yeah.
So like, he's good at what he does. And this is how I try to explain it to people. People that are good at what they do, that are at the top of their game, they are very moody. Like, you see what I'm saying? They're just geniuses, but you got to approach them in a certain way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can't come at somebody like they're a jobber or somebody green.
Yeah.
You can't be yelling at people like that.
So I wanted to be able to listen to him first before I called in. And I was like, hey, I'm listening to it. Bubba's in a good mood, so I'm going to call in. So I sent it to you. Give me your review. How did you think I did calling in to Bubba 199 last time?
First off, the whole Bubba 199 concept is actually pretty cool. I think Bubba actually has fun when he does it, so it sounds good. I don't know why he doesn't just cut liners for one of these rock stations that he works at and then have them put a little show together on Saturdays where it's just him voicing it because
Yeah. I mean, I agree because you followed Bubba around. He was a music guy. He was working at night at XL. He did a lot of that stuff, and he knows how to work it. And unlike most radio hosts, you can appreciate this, he runs his own board. He is a stickler when it comes to how stuff sounds. The mix minus fading in and out from one song to another. And he takes pride in that. And I actually think he gets a kick out of playing some music.
I do as well. That's why the shows are probably as good as they are. Diving into your audio, I'm glad that you did call into it. Call into his show anyway. You got a fuck, man. I mean, he put you over, you put him over. The fact that he still appreciates your hustle, and there seemed like there was no animosity between each other, which there shouldn't be. It was a good call, man. It made me happy for you, and it made me happy for the show.
Now, I mean, I had the intentions. The main reason why I called is not to get back on the show, because me, you, Vulture, Josh from Canada, we're all working on something right now. We're trying to build something bigger for a stepping off point. You know, the way I look at it is, if this podcast gets bigger, if we get some type of attention, and like, for example, if somebody said, hey, Charlie, I like what you do on the Tuddle Daily Podcast, and I want to hire you for my radio station. And most radio hosts would be upset. They would be like, fuck you, Charlie, you got to show loyalty. You want me to be honest? I would be happy for you, and I would love for you to stay, but I would be like, yes, Charlie, you need to take that offer immediately. That's the way I'm looking at this project that we're working on.
For sure. Yeah, and I don't know, man. You're super supportive about it. That's why I want to be on board. Plus, being another radio guy, you know about being fucked over in this business. Man,
I've been watching. Do you watch a lot of streaming TV?
Yeah.
Have you do you watch anything on Apple TV at all, or no? The streaming?
No, I don't have Apple TV now.
I'm gonna send you my login. You got to watch. This show came on, premiered in November 2019 on Apple Plus. But it's the show called The Morning Show. Have you heard anything about it?
No.
Okay, so it's got Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, and Steve Carell from The Office.
Okay.
Okay, well, in a roundabout way, okay? It's about a TV broadcast morning show, okay? And
okay. I think I have heard of it.
So I know it's not radio, but the similarities between TV and radio just being what happened, then I'll give you a couple examples, okay? The program director, the executive, the boss, what they'll say, what they'll lie about just to keep you happy and keep you working. Now, another example, the people on the show, they're friends. They'll be talking. They'll be in the same room. And then when one of them walks out of the room, they start motherfucking each other. And I cannot tell you how many times I've found out as soon as I leave the room that they will talk complete, absolute shit about you. And then when you come back, they'll be like, hey, what's up, buddy? How you been? They'll act like you're friends. And I don't think people realize what radio and TV is actually like, how cutthroat it is, how everybody has an ego. There's really no friends. I'm not saying that it's not possible to have true friends in radio, but it's a dime a dozen.
Yeah, it's sort of like stand-up comedy. Everybody likes each other when they're all on the same playing field, and then when somebody blows up, then they hate you.
Yeah, it really sucks. And then something else I've learned from this, and I've known this for a while, but it kind of just backed up everything, especially in TV broadcasting, is the double standard. How men are allowed to age gracefully and they get to retire on their own terms, but the women, they have such a short shelf life. And when they start to get older, it's kind of like, hey, what can we do to push this woman out the door?
Exactly. You want to hear a funny story about that? There's a shitty little morning show here in Montana when we used to have cable called Wake Up Montana. And there was this old bat.
Wait, ho. Wake Up Montana? I can't watch this show fast enough.
I think there's clips on their Facebook page. I'll have to find something and show it to you. Now it's different, but there used to be this old battle axe on there named Becky Hillier. And she and this one dude, like Dave Rice, we used to call him Dave Pork Fried Rice because he looked like he was hammered, would get on there and they would do the news in the morning. Slowly, they started pushing her off. So then she was on the morning show. Then they put her in like afternoons doing the updates in between Mari and shit.
And then weekends, they put her on weekends.
And then they kicked her the fuck off, dude.
And it's just so weird. And, you know, I'm not trying to be PC, but when you look at it, it is kind of weird. Even in Hollywood, you'll have to admit, when women start aging, they don't get the roles that they used to. Like, for example, did you see what was the latest Quentin Tarantino movie? Once Upon a Time. Everybody talked about, Brad Pitt was so good, but just being honest, compared to his earlier movies, the dude's looking a little bit older, still looks better than me, you, or Vulture. But what I'm saying is, he catches a break because it's Brad Pitt. He's a guy.
Yeah. I think the best was Margot Robbie because she didn't speak a lick.
Yes. That's what I did not like about that movie. Margot Robbie's character was just pointless. Like, you could have taken her out of that movie and it would not have changed the plot of the story.
No, they could have had him committing a crime at anybody's house, really, you know.
Yes, and that's what did not make sense. Everybody says Once Upon a Time was one of his best, and I gotta disagree. I did not. I mean, it was enjoyable. The last, part of the movie when they came in to the house with Brad Pitt, and he fucked him up and everything. That saved the whole movie, but it just, I don't know. It just did not connect with me.
Yeah, it seemed like a couple of old aging queens cruising around in a movie, basically.
Now, I will say, a lot of people hate Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, I don't.
I like it. What is your favorite movie? Because I talked about it on the show this week.
From Leo?
What's that?
From Leo?
Yeah, from Leo.
He has a bunch of them. I mean, The Beach was great. I remember watching that movie as a kid and being like, this movie's awesome.
That does not get enough credit. The Beach was an amazing movie.
You know what my favorite movie that he did, though, was the one where he played the guy that Jim Carroll, Basketball Diaries.
Yeah, great movie as well, too. But he won the Oscar for Best Actor in the movie The Revenant, where, the one where the bear attacks him.
Yeah.
Did you ever see it or no?
Yes.
Okay, so the Leo did hardly talk during that movie because the bear fucked up his throat and he couldn't talk to it. So he wins it. Wolf of Wall Street was his best movie. His acting in that was brilliant. Now my favorite Leo movie though was
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
No, Inception.
Oh yeah, that was a good movie.
So, but back to the Bubba audio, and I don't know if you got this, okay? And it just shows how much I've changed. Because if you listen, you heard him say, "Hey, Tuddle, do you regret? You had a great gig, and you flaked out." And old Tuddle would have been like, "You know what? Screw you, man.
Yeah.
You were kind of asking for it, but you want to know what I did? Now that I'm clear-headed," and that's the thing about it. When you're younger in the business, if you just sucked a little dick, and I'm not saying literally sucked a little dick, but if you just worked and kind of, rubbed the belly of the bosses, the PD, the host, or whatever, we would both be further along in our careers. And then when Bubba said that, you know what I said? I was like, yep. And I wasn't just saying it to, get the plugs. I was doing it because, yeah, you're right. I was in a bad place, and I just freaked out. I had a great thing going, and Bubba gravitated towards that.
Yeah, I don't think Bubba came off great in that. It was the peanut gallery that he had in on the show, the ring of jobs that you don't know who's who. But
and I talked about this. A lot of them were like, "Oh, Tuddle, you got chat cancer." Well, let's be honest. Those dudes that were in there were most likely people that donated a lot of bits, and they paid to be able to hang out in the studio that night.
Yeah.
I would think.
Listen, some people don't have talent. That's how you gotta fucking get into a studio. Some people have talent and can't get into a studio, so who knows?
It's just weird, and I don't think people realize they hear what me and you talk about, and they're like, oh, it can't be that bad. Listen, we both love radio,
yes.
But it's also, and I say this, we love radio more than radio loves us.
Oh yeah, we're literally radio cucks. We just let it go and cheat with other people and then come back and we still hug it at night.
Yo, yeah. We're in the corner. It all depends on how far you want to take it. But,
well, let's just say we're in an office. There's a camera rolling, brother.
Oh, I'll be in my office if you need any. Yeah, I get that. But I would want to be in the room.
There's a couple other sex tapes coming out, too. That fucking stupid lie.
Yeah. God. But I'm just saying, if I'm going to see my chick getting screwed, I'm going to be sitting in a chair in the corner, maybe, taking care of myself and stuff. At least I got to be able to get something out of it.
If I'm going to watch my chick go with another dude, I'm going to be sitting in the corner like Arnold Schwarzenegger in fucking True Lies when he's smoking the cigar with the little tape player.
This is why I love you, Charlie. And I know a lot of people are going to, brag on me about this, but I got to tell you, Jamie Lee Curtis in that movie. Now, I need to research this. If that was Jamie Lee Curtis's body where she's dancing,
yes,
the bitch is tight. I'm just saying.
Oh, she is. Go back and watch Trading Places, where she's the hooker.
Oh, yeah. Oh. I'm glad you bring that up. What happened to Eddie Murphy? Because
he's coming back.
Yes, he is. Because I love it when I see classic movies. There's those movies. you have that movie anytime you see it on TV that you'll stop and watch it every single time?
Basically, any John Candy movie.
Yeah. What is your favorite John Candy movie?
Probably Uncle Buck. I mean,
Great Outdoors for me.
they're both. You know what? I love them both so much. They're so great. I mean, I love every character that he played, except for it sucked that the last movie that he did was such a shitter. Wagons East.
Wagons West or East or whatever.
Yeah. See, isn't it funny that
was it Canadian Bacon?
I like Canadian Bacon. It had a bunch of big name people in it.
But that Wagons East one was kind of shitty.
Don't you find it kind of crazy that he died making a Western movie, and the last starring movie that Chris Farley was in was Almost Heroes, where they were trying to beat Lewis and Clark, which is probably my only favorite Matthew Perry movie. Was that the one where he was climbing up the tree to get the eagle's egg out of it? Yeah, and all he needed was the shell. Yeah, that was a Christopher Guest movie, the guy from Spinal Tap, and he did all those great mockumentaries like Waiting for Guffman and stuff. He's fantastic.
Is there a better comedy duo than Spade and Farley?
No, they were like the 90s version of like Laurel and Hardy, when you think about it. They didn't do as many films, but they certainly had that kind of chemistry.
What was your favorite, Tommy Boy or Black Sheep?
I'm just gonna say Black Sheep because everybody says Tommy Boy. I love them both, but I used the line the other day when the cop pulls him over. He's like, he's wanted in Nevada for banging horses. He's like, wouldn't you get him out of this state faster than 10 miles an hour?
Farley does not get the credit. Everybody looked at him as that fat, out-of-shape guy. And for a big man, I got to tell you, he could move quicker than me or you.
He's very nimble.
I give people a prime example. During that famous the Chippendale skit that he did with
Swayze. Patrick Swayze.
His physical comedy, I thought he did it better than anybody.
Yes, for sure. You know what? I love all the Farleys. Kevin, Chris, what's that other one? I can't remember the taller Farley. Oh, I don't want to forget him because he kicks ass too. But anyway, I just like all the Murrays. How could you hate Bill Murray?
There's those comedians that turn to actors that are just American treasures. Now, I know Tom Hanks isn't a comedian, but I look at Tom Hanks as an American treasure. I will watch anything he's ever in. But Bill Murray, though, the dude, listen, even his bit parts, I will say that Bill Murray has the best cameo appearance ever in a movie. Do you know which one I'm talking about without even having to tell you?
Zombieland, maybe?
Yes. I thought that cameo appearance, I was in the movie theater, I watched that, and people lost their goddamn minds.
Yeah, I remember watching when the movie Life Aquatic came out, when he plays like the Jacques Cousteau type character, and he's smoking a joint outside the thing and tries to offer it to the one dude, and it's fucking great. It's just a fun movie.
Who was the writer and director of all those movies? Because Bill Murray.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah, Wes Anderson.
Yeah,
now,
he did a lot of them.
You know what movie kind of reminded me of what Wes Anderson does? Did you have a chance to see Jojo Rabbit?
No, but everybody's been telling me to watch it. I know what happens in it, so.
I mean, it's just the way that it's shot. It was so good.
The only JoJo movie I want to watch is JoJo Dance, Your Life is Calling, the fucking Richard Pryor movie.
All right, now that you're bringing up comedians, who is you think the top dog in all time when it comes to comedy, stand-up comedy?
Like living or dead, or you just mean of all time?
Any of them, all time.
I mean, Christ, there's so many people, but there's like, it's kind of hard because like people like Lenny Bruce and stuff like that, they were important, but to go back and listen to some of their stuff, unless you really appreciate their craft, you're not really going to get it. But, you know, like Richard Pryor for sure. I mean, Rodney's story alone is fucking great. The man didn't make it until later on in life, just proving to people don't fucking, you know, don't quit on shit. Look at Leslie Nielsen, another guy that's not a comedian, but he didn't make it later on. Then he became batshit crazy.
That Willie Sparks movie that Rodney Dangerfield did.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
I that was one of my favorite. I mean, Back to School was brilliant.
I love it. I loved Back to School. I loved Kinnison in that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Do you I've heard Ron Bennington. I've never gotten the whole story. You know that he was running with Sam Kinison at one time.
He was touring with the Disciples, right?
Yeah, Disciples of Comedy type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I could only imagine what they did behind the scenes, because I heard, you know, during that time, cocaine was really popular.
I was going to say, I bet it involved a Glad bag full of something white. And a lot of drinking.
Yeah. So, but now let me ask you, so if you listen to that audio,
yes,
Bubba said, now I'm not going to be mad at him. I don't want people to think that I'm bashing him, but he said he's going to call me this weekend. What, yes or no? Do you think he will actually call me?
I hope that he does. Do I think that he will? Probably not. But if he does, then that'll be crazy.
I mean, that's my feeling. Like I said, I'm not going to be mad. That's just Bubba.
I think you guys had a great exchange. I mean, shit, you made him pop a few times when you're like, there's so many people here, I don't even know who the fuck I'm talking to.
Yeah.
When you said that you were, you're the reason why the show was going downhill, he fucking popped on that too.
Yeah, I mean, just being self-deprecating.
But it
usually get the laugh.
But it wasn't like poor pitiful me self-deprecating. It was fucking funny self-deprecating the way that you shot off the line. So yeah, I thought it was a good little segment that you did there, man.
Yeah. All right, Charlie. Well, I really appreciate the time, man. What do you got going on the rest of the weekend? What's your plans for the rest of the day?
I'm not sure, man. I'm gonna decompress, write some stuff down, maybe work on some shit if I can get some fucking quiet time. I was reading before we wrap this up that, did you see that Bob and Tom got thrown off the air in Pierre, North Dakota?
No, for what?
Because you know, Tom Griswold thinks he's fucking hilarious and he's really just an old doddering fool. And he was making.
Wait. Can we back up here? I thought one of them left. I thought like one
Bob's
of them. Okay, but they still call it Bob and Tom?
Yeah, why do they still call it Kid Craddock?
Yeah, I know. That's weird to me.
Dude, have you ever, like, I was running the board for a while at the hit music station here, and I had to listen to that shit in the morning. If somebody actually gets entertainment from that, I don't ever want them to listen to any of the stuff that I do, ever, because they will never get any of my humor.
No, they're not going to get it. And a lot of people don't realize, you know, they have a lot of comedians on their show. A lot of that stuff none of it is off the cuff. It's all
set up.
Yeah, it's all set up, all pre-planned. So
there's a great Kevin Pollak back in the day was on Opie and Anthony, and he was talking about how he didn't like doing Bob and Tom because they wanted him to do material.
Yeah, dude. Working on the Monsters, the quickest way a comedian would get just one segment, I'm not even talking a full segment. I mean, it would be very short, is if they started because you can tell when a comedian will say something to get you to say something so they can go into their material. And it sucks
the only person that could get away with that, and he did it just a little bit, was when Rodney would go on like Howard and stuff like that. But it's Rodney Dangerfield, for Christ's sake.
But listen, that's the thing about Rodney. He didn't tell stories. I mean, he did a little bit, but it was rapid fire. It was like set up, joke, set up, joke, set up, joke. And you just got peppered with that. You would get, when most comedians, like in a minute, would maybe tell one or two jokes, you could get at least 5 or 6 in a minute from Rodney Dangerfield.
10 if you go see Jackie Martling.
Yeah.
I love Jackie.
You want to know what? He had his funny moments, but what made me laugh the most, and a lot of people don't realize this, because you would hear like Howard hitting on something controversial, maybe somebody dying or something, and you would hear Jackie laughing. A lot of people thought that was live, yeah. But it was. I mean, they would play a lot of that audio. At least I think they would.
Yeah.
And they would. That would make me laugh the most.
The things that make me laugh now, going back and listening to it, is when you can hear Jackie throwing the paper to Howard, and Howard reads the joke, and then Jackie just laughs, hilarious big laugh off mic, and you can tell that it's easily a Jackie joke. Yeah,
it's his joke. We had Craig Gass. Did you like Craig Gass?
Yeah, I out of the people that were auditioning for the Jackie chair, he wouldn't have been.
I wanted Craig to get it.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been bad.
Now, who was the guy? We've talked about this. I forget. That's how unimportant. The guy that punched Stuttering John.
Oh, AJ Benza.
Yeah. I never thought he was funny.
No, I didn't either. Have you, he was on Joey Diaz's podcast not too long ago. I mean, the guy could tell good stories and stuff, but yeah, I didn't find him to be very funny now.
Yeah, I really didn't like him that much. And now, we talked about this. I like Bill Burr. Bill Burr does not get enough credit, in my opinion.
No, Bill Burr's the reason why I finished watching Breaking Bad, because I wasn't going to. I'm probably the only person that was like, I like Better Call Saul better because I'm a Bob Odenkirk fan.
Yeah. A lot of people don't get that, because comedy is subjective, because some of the stuff that they wrote was some of the weirdest goddamn comedy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Mr. Show's awesome.
What was that? Ghost to Washington or whatever what was that? God damn it, I forget. But yeah, who was his partner he wrote with?
David Cross.
Yes, David Cross. Yeah. That stuff was brilliant. What do you... I smoked a little bit too much weed before I came on here, so that's why I'm having all these brain farts.
See, and I smoked a little too, and then it made me think better.
Oh, I remember it. What do you think of Eric Andre?
Eric Andre? I like Eric Andre. I haven't watched his new special, but I think his fucking show is pretty cool.
That show, I know a lot of it was set up, but I love uncomfortable comedy. That's what I love. I love making people uncomfortable, because I just love to sit back and just bathe in the uncomfortableness.
So you must love when you walk into a room then.
Yes, I love it. I love making people uncomfortable, and I get a kick out of it. And I know, like you've talked about this, sometimes I'll do shit to make myself laugh. I don't give a damn what anybody else thinks about it.
Oh, yeah, I do it all the time at work. Yeah. Nobody gets it, though, because they're all – I was like – the other day it finally fucking hit me. I was like, holy shit, I'm the only person here that was actually a child in the 90s. All these people were, like, either born or not born yet. The oldest person there was born in, like, 94.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
All right, Charlie, if people want to check you out, how can they do that?
If you go to Tuddle.net, everything's there. Watch Tuddle stuff.
I'm not Bubba. You don't have to put me over. You ain't got a baby face with me.
Oh, hang on. Donkey Teeth with another 1,000 bits.
Donkey Teeth actually texted me after I got off the
bits?
air. We went with Bubba
Oh.
last night. He was like, hey, man, thank you. And I'm like, oh, dude, I haven't heard from you since I've been off the show.
Yeah, because you don't, yeah. He's like, he's not bringing anything to the table.
Yeah. All right, Charlie. Well, I really appreciate it. And
Oh, yeah.
any chance we get to record, I'm down. I am the biggest Charlie Alaimo mark.
Awesome. I need some.
I'm gonna go to the middle of the ring. I'm gonna lay the strap down for you, and you just have to take it because you are the new age. You are gonna be taken over, even though I'm like 9 or 10 years older than you. You're gonna be the one that's gonna, take over my gig, and they're gonna kick me out like I'm old, used up. That's why you're working in Tampa type deal.
I love that line. I used it the other day, and nobody knew what the fuck I was talking about.
All right, Charlie. Well, I'll talk to you sometime in the next couple of days to record some more stuff with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vulture, for everything, and thank you, Tuddle.
All right, man. See ya.